That's pretty incredible. It's still in service. That's great. It's nice to see, nice to see things last like that. Well, in the essence of helping the endeavors continue forward, lasting, right? Helping to stay around. You've got a food truck fundraiser coming up in conjunction with Marisa at EMS. Let's talk a little bit about that. Why are we having this fundraiser?
So Lancaster EMS and Lafayette Fire, we are mutual and automatic 911 mutual aid for each other. In fact, about 2 hours ago, right, Howard, there was a call, emergency accident that happened about an hour ago, I think, Howard, where we both responded on the scene.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah, yes, we do work. We do work a lot together. Sorry.
Yeah. Yep. And so what we are trying to do, because we're both, in the efforts of trying to fundraise, is we have an exciting opportunity to bring the community together, bring them out to help support us. Next Friday is our first responder food truck fundraiser right here at Lafayette Fire. So bring your appetite. We're going to have 7 food truck vendors and over 20 merchandise boutique type of pop-up shops with a variety of merchandise. And all the proceeds are going to be split equally between Lancaster EMS and Lafayette Fire. We'll have some live demonstrations. On the EMS side, we're going to have some hands-only CPR demonstrations. Lafayette Fire will, of course, have their fire trucks available and all their apparatus and showcase that. And joining us also next Friday night is Silo from the Barnstormer. So the kids can come on out, get their picture with Silo. We are charging an admission. It's $3 a person. Ages 16 and under are free. And again, all those proceeds will be split equally between the two of us, between Lafayette and Lancaster EMS. Yep.
Friday, April 23rd, correct?
Friday, April 23rd. Location is Lafayette Fire. And
what time is it? All day long, or
4 o'clock until 8 o'clock. So, like we said, bring your appetite, bring the kids, meet us down here, and it's a great way just to support us. It really is. This is a fun fundraiser for first responders.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think if listeners listening to this, you're Friday night, you're typically maybe going to dine out, going to get some pizza or something for their family, whatever. This is the moment right now where our community needs us. You're going to make a decision to spend some money somewhere, most likely over the weekend. Get out of the house, get some fresh air, maybe see that history marker that Howard told us about for the Lafayette Fire Company. You'll be on site there. We'll get the maps, all the links up to connect in the show notes with the postings. But I just challenge everybody, if you're going to go out, if you're going to spend the money, do it where it impacts your community the most. And you got 4 hours, 4 to 8. It's a couple bucks to get in, but so what? Food trucks are a lot of fun. You get kind of like a great little buffet of on-demand, different food. There'll be some entertainment there. As they said, Silo from the Barnstormers. That's a great picture with the kids. Really just would urge everybody to put that into their schedule right now. Friday, April 23rd from 4 to 8 at the Lafayette Fire Company. We'll get the map up of how you get in and what the address is and everything if you don't know it. But part of this money is going to go towards new equipment. What's a fully equipped ambulance or fire truck cost?
I'll speak on my side, but to a new ambulance, about $160,000.
Wow.
And then
may I interrupt quick?
Yes.
May I interrupt?
Did you
May
just
I
get a
interrupt?
call?
Our new engine. Yes, I'm getting a call. We have to leave. But our new engine's going to run us about $650,000.
Wow.
So,
All right, so get out and eat some food at the food trucks.
Yep. They're just
okay.
getting a call.
Thank you for the opportunity.
There we go. It's pretty cool. I mean, not cool that a call came in, but we get to kind of see that what they deal with on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think it drives home the point of how important the services are that EMS Lafayette offer.
Yeah.
Folks like Marisa and Howard, dedicating their time, the energy, the effort, the stress that goes into it. You kind of got the inside baseball of what life is like there. You heard the calls. Howard running out 52 years in. He's still donating time back to our community. Folks, again, Friday, April 23rd from 4 to 8, you got the opportunity to go out and help raise some money for this. See, and there it doesn't stop, right, Marisa? It just doesn't stop.
We're going to hear this.
So
They're
at any rate,
loading on.
we're going to
I
help
wish we could-
kick off the fundraising. I think it makes sense to bring this up now.
Yeah, sure.
We're trying to stay on script. We're going to drive our production team nuts in case this is later in the notes, but oh well. We donate to the charities that come on. We donate a little amount. This basically divides up our monthly giving on each episode. So we're going to donate, Marisa, to this event, $125 to the event. In a way, I'm sure you've already gotten some funds in already, but that's going to be our contribution, $125 to the efforts here. We'll figure out who to send that to. I guess we might divide it up between the two individually, but we're going to commit that $125 to the effort. All right. So thanks so much for everything you do. Hang on. We'll have you talk a little bit more about some other events that are going on as we wrap up the show. All right. But thanks for everything, Marisa. And certainly thanks to Howard for all of his efforts and time back to the community.
Can I talk about food trucks for just a moment?
Yeah, we've got some other food trucks in the area.
Yeah, so we got food trucks in the area, and I did get advance notice. It's right here.
You got advance
of the
notice.
food trucks that are going to be at the Lafayette Fire Company on April 23rd. Farm Show Milkshakes, which they're just fantastic. Nano Grill, Brickers French Fries, Papa Snow, Annie Ann's Crazy Train, and Laura's Chocolate. They'll all be at the Lafayette Fire Company on Friday the 23rd. Isla Estrella.
All of this tomfoolery as we introduce these food trucks, all info and links available on the website and via email each week. Just enter our giveaway at lancasterconnects.com to subscribe to our weekly email update. You'll get all of this information nicely lined out without our little bloopers and tongue twisters. It'll all be in the show info that we send out to you. And remember, this show is also available as a podcast. We'll have info like this for you each and every week. Subscribe to the podcast by finding the links at lancasterconnects.com.